And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, October 4th, 2025. And in the weather-related headlines across the state of Alaska, we continue to watch what will be a series of North Pacific and Bering Sea lows with fronts that work their way up, especially into the west side of the state for now through the upcoming week and even in through next weekend. At times, there will be the potential for high surf and some coastal flooding, especially there along the west coast, and there will be an enhanced chance coming up here, it looks like later Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday, as there are coastal flood watches that have been issued for that time frame. Also, secondary low in development that is going to come up across Bristol Bay and then into the southwest interior on Sunday afternoon and evening will bring periods of rain into the western interior and then also along the Gulf Coast that'll spill into the Panhandle as we go through Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. But overall, above normal temperatures are going to be the rule here across the mainland, likely up through mid-month, and it'll be very wet, especially in through areas of the west coast and western interior. And I'll show you that in the 6 to 10 day outlook coming up. Really nothing changing from what I was showing you a few days ago. So up along the Bering Strait this Saturday afternoon, Wales is windy with light rain and fog. You can see the surf action there, the elevated surf action there. The white caps there in the distance. 46 degrees. There's still a high surf advisory in effect through 4 a.m. Sunday morning. Further inland, as the front has come inland, it's produced as the moisture encounters colder air up there on the south slopes of the Brooks Range. Bettles, light snow and fog, 34 degrees, but temperatures are going to be rising slowly there across that area. As we continue to have generally a southerly, moist, mild flow of air. Black Rapids overcast, 41 degrees. You can see some lower cloudiness. There may even be a few snowflakes or sprinkles mixed in that. Black Rapids, that area of the Alaska Range, under a wind advisory until later Sunday afternoon. Winds through the Alaska Range could gust as high as 50 to near 60 miles an hour tonight through Sunday afternoon. Then down in Klawock, look at this, partly cloudy, 63 degrees, a beautiful autumn afternoon there in parts of the southern Panhandle, though there was some fog around this morning. There have been some areas of dense fog reported earlier this morning. Can't rule out there could be a bit more of that, but more importantly, looking at the wind situation here in the Alaska Range, that's that wind advisory in effect through 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. South winds could gust as high as 50 to near 60 miles an hour along the ridge lines and through some of the gaps and passes. But here along the west coast, first things first, the orange area are high surf advisories from the Bering Strait at Wales through Nome to about Golovin, and then a coastal flood advisory from around Emonic down the lower Yukon coastline to Hooper Bay. These areas could see water levels 2, 3, maybe 4 feet above the normal high tide line through early Sunday morning. Also factor in we have the full moon that's going to be occurring on Monday evening, so we're at that time frame of astronomical high tide in addition to whatever the wind can do to enhance the surf and raise those water levels. But the area in yellow, and that includes all the way down here underneath this orange, there is a coastal flood watch for the area just east of Utqiagvik all the way down along the Chukchi coastline, including Kotzebue Sound, and then down around the Seward Peninsula, including Norton Sound, and then down through the lower Yukon coastline, as well as including St. Lawrence Island. And this area here will first see it later Tuesday into Wednesday, and then as that system spreads northeastward, we will find stronger winds and that potential for coastal flooding extending north along the Chukchi coast, especially from around the Lisburn Peninsula up to Utqiagvik. So we have another low. We have a low right now out in this region, northwest quadrant of the Bering Sea. Another one's going to come up into this general area, that with a strong front, and that's what's going to give the midweek period that storminess along the west and northwest coast. Satellite imagery will clearly show the circulation of that low out here outside the Gulf of Anadyr and west of St. Lawrence Island. Meanwhile, we have more moisture coming up from the North Pacific into across the Alaska Peninsula into areas of south central and the Gulf. And we'll have a secondary low come up across Bristol Bay and into the southwest interior just west of the Alaska Range Sunday afternoon and early evening. And there's going to be kind of secondary development that takes place into the western Gulf, and this is going to send rain and rain showers along the Gulf Coast and into the Panhandle as we head through Sunday into Sunday night. So on the weather map late this Saturday night into early Sunday morning, here comes that secondary low. Pretty good mild flow air ahead of it there in Kodiak and up. It'll push up into Homer. It's going to feel balmy, though it'll be quite humid with periods of rain or rain showers. The initial occluded front washing out as it pushes inland. And then we have the low still sitting out there in the northwest quadrant of the Bering. Come Sunday, that low will continue to fill, rising up to about 989 millibars from 980 millibars. And then we have that other low crossing up from Bristol Bay inland, and this frontal system working its way through the Gulf Coast region with areas of rain or rain showers. And then going into Monday, there's going to be yet another system. We have a couple of lows out there in the western and southwest area of the Bering Sea. We still have the low out here in the Gulf with a frontal system pushing up into the Panhandle and warmer air further south toward Vancouver Island and along the Conus Pacific Northwest coast down there around Washington State and Oregon. But as we get into Tuesday, that stronger low will be pushing up toward the Bering Strait down near 970 millibars with another windy front. So this is the impetus. This low is going to deepen up over the Chukchi Sea, and as a result, we have that coastal flood watch for areas from the lower Yukon coast all the way up to and just east of Utqiagvik, including through the Bering Strait. So come Tuesday and into Wednesday and Thursday, the active weather will be along the west and northwest coasts. Meanwhile, ridge of high pressure will nudge up into the northeastern Gulf Coast around Yakutat for Tuesday afternoon, so you'll get a little break in the action there as the old low slides southeastward, weakening toward Haida Gwaii. Temperatures, though, for Sunday morning, we could still see readings down near 19-ish there at Arctic Village, below freezing along central eastern Brooks Range, North Slope, Arctic coast. Milder temperatures near lows only just above 50, Sitka and around maybe Klawock. As long as you don't keep skies too clear, you could get some fog again there. But mild temperatures, humid mild, like Homer and down through Kodiak Island. Lows tonight, lower 50s. And we've had some of that modified milder air push inland up the Yukon and Kuskokwim River valleys. And then for Sunday afternoon, could get readings back up around or just above 50, Fairbanks, Delta Junction into the 50s with some rain around Anchorage, the Matsu Valley, and certainly the Kenai Peninsula and down toward Kodiak Island. Temperatures along the Panhandle, warmest readings Sitka through Craig and Ketchikan. Could still be another 60-degree reading out that way. And then on Monday, notice temperatures not quite as cool up there along the Brooks Range. A few spots could be a little below freezing, but we have this southerly flow, moist southerly flow, so it's going to tend to elevate temperatures even up there in the far north, and then along areas of the Panhandle, lows, outer Panhandle coastline and Dixon entrance area, lows in the lower 50s. Generally 40s across south central Alaska, including Anchorage and down across the Kenai Peninsula, and we have 40s extending out along the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians. And then for Monday afternoon, notice in the far north we have temperatures above freezing along the Arctic coast, Utqiagvik through Kaktovik, mid, maybe upper 30s. We have upper 30s to near 40 along the Brooks Range, 40s generally across the Seward Peninsula, and 40s to near 50 degrees across the southwest interior as you work your way up into the middle Yukon Valley and the Kuskokwim on the west side of the Alaska Range. And we could still see maybe an isolated 60-degree reading on Prince of Wales Island there for Monday afternoon. So overall, as we look ahead here, just approaching mid-month, October 10th through the 14th, that's next weekend and early the following week. The mainland will see temperatures above normal with the greatest probability here over the lower Yukon, including Bethel, Dillingham, McGrath. Temperatures should average near normal across much of the Panhandle, especially the central and southern areas, but The precipitation one is the interesting map. So the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook really has not changed. Moving along now to October 10th through the 14th, the west side of the mainland is going to high probability, over 90% probability of above normal precipitation, centered along the west coast from Kivalina down through Nome to Quagilingok there and Bethel, on up into areas up through the middle Yukon Valley, Nulato Hills and Haisley. High probability of above normal precipitation there just prior to mid-month. And then out here through the Panhandle, it looks like precipitation will average a little bit below normal, especially across central and southern areas of the Panhandle.